If you've seen these, there's a good chance you've seen one of these. And when you see one of these, you might think of Western country music with a banjo. Like that. Railroads are the backbone of an industrial America, and there's a whole community united by them in a completely different manner.
Model railroading has taken thousands of people by storm.
And it's a curiosity as to why. Let's investigate and see exactly what this hobby is.
Model railroading is not only a hobby, but an experience that can involve any or all of your family and friends, but most importantly, will expand your imagination, your enjoyment, gives you a better appreciation for different aspects of the world. Because of the landscaping and the scenery work that you do, you begin to notice things in scenery and the nature about you better. And you learn about people when you start detailing your layout.
We now know the basics of model railroading and what it entails. So where do we start?
I would advise them going into what they call one of the standard gauges, like just N scale or HO or O, because most people want what we call instant gratification. They want to see a train run, they want to see it operate, they want to see the cars there. So my advice is go with a standard gauge, whichever scale you want, but before you get into it, do your research. Be sure what scale you want and how you're going to approach it. And that scale, most convenient for me to model, is what they call HON3. That's HO scale, narrow gauge. The next most popular one that I like, of course, is HO, because they lend themselves to each other as far as the buildings and the mountains and all that go together. But I particularly like the HON3, and that's primarily what I do. That particular scale lends itself to the modern space available in a typical home or residential situation. You don't have to have a mammoth area or a large area. You can make it as large as you like, but you can make a very nice layout on a 4x8 section of track, which you can put in your garage or your den. It'll fit in very well. Or you can go just to an N scale and you can do that in half. You can do that in a 2x4 layout and do a lot with it.
Now that we know about HO and HON3,
what exactly is N-scale?
N-scale originally came out of Germany in the 1960s, and the distance between the rails is 9 millimeters. And scale-wise, it's 1 to 160.
Joseph Pritchett model railroads in N-scale with local model railroad group Trinity N-Trak.
Trinity N-Trak is a group of about 10 or so guys that meet once a month. We are what's called a modular group. So what happens is each person builds a piece that's roughly 2 by 4 foot for the module. We have standard interfaces at both ends for both the track and the electrical, and then we hook all these modules together, and then we set up at train shows, and we can run a train that's 50, 60, 70 cars very reliably and very closely simulate and represent a fairly short modern freight train. And we just run on the layout.
If you want to get into the hobby, but space and money are some issues, what can you do?
So I say the advantages of the N scale and the HO are that they're compatible with our normal living structures that we're involved with today, the home that you have, and then the money. Money becomes a very important part of it because this hobby can get to be expensive, but it does not mean that it has to be prohibitive. You just need to plan it out and work it out. With your N scale and your HO scale, you have a wide variety of rolling stock, which is cars, available to you. You have a large selection of locomotives that are available to you. You have a large selection of structures and detail parts that are all available to you, ready-made, that you can get involved as you want as far as modeling or just ready to run. So accessibility, availability, and size, I think, are the things you have to look at.
What else can model railroading offer you when you become invested in this hobby?
I like the building, I like the design work and the creativity part of it, and I've developed a lot of really good friendships over the years, so the friendship and camaraderie is really enjoyable.
It's just an all-involving hobby that you can do from an early age to a ripe old age like me.
So the next time you see one of these, remember that they're a common love for thousands of people because odds are you already know someone who loves model railroading.